Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to be here on this Sunday afternoon and have an opportunity to talk about spirituality, to talk about the purpose of our life, to talk about what is it that we really should be spending our times on. We all live in an age and in an environment in which things are much different than they used to be when we were children. I remember being born in Delhi and being there for the first 22 years of my life. Relationships were different, times were different, neighborhoods were different. And I think things, as we all grew up, whether we lived in India or America or any other part of the world, living in any neighborhood, people who were living in our neighborhoods were very, very close. Those are the times when families would be together, grandparents and parents and children and siblings would all live together. And even in the neighborhood, everyone would walk to your door, knock. We didn't even have doorbells in those days. Maybe people in America did have them, but we didn't have them in the beginning. And so you'll hear a knock and you go open the door up and someone will be standing there. And generally you know who they were and they will walk in. And sometimes you'll have someone who you don't know. And that person say, oh, I'm a relative of this relative of yours and your uncles, aunts, sisters, daughters, husband, and their neighbors. So we came from this town, and you said, yeah, come in. And then, they would expect that they would stay with you for a week or two. That was very common in those days. But people from a neighborhood would just walk in. They would walk into your house, they would talk, and that's how life used to be. And I'm sure life like that was there too, 40, 50 years ago. But today, all the kids are getting jobs in all different places. Families are getting fragmented. All the children are so educated. They're making enough money. They don't need any dependence of the parents. So, families kind of fragmented. So today, we live in an environment where even if we are in a neighborhood, to visit a neighbor, we need to make an appointment. We need to call them first, send an email, get an answer, or whatever the mechanisms are there. Hey, can I visit you? The other person say, okay, you can come on Tuesday at 7:30 at night. Because they're busy, but the main thing is that the house is not clean. Then on Tuesday in the morning, they're going to get someone to clean the house. But what is very interesting is these are for the women who are generally running the households. Before the cleaning person comes, he's spending 2-3 hours cleaning up so it doesn't look bad to them. Isn't that happen with most of you? That's what I hear, okay? And so we are cleaning before the cleaning people will come. We spend so much time in making sure that our house is presented well when someone comes to visit us. Okay? But when we want to have God visit us, what do we do? So there's a story I want to relate. This is about a young man. A young man wanted to meet God. So he looked around and he found there's a saintly person in the community. He started going there regularly and he started to get guidance to be able to meditate. He goes home and he meditates and comes once a week and he goes to the talks, he listens, tries to learn the technique, and he's meditating. And 1 week goes by, another week goes by, another month goes by. A few months go by and he has not met God. So one day when he comes to the programs, he asks for a private meeting with the saint. So he sees the saint, he says, hey, I've been practicing meditation like you told me, but I have not met God. So the saint asked him a few questions. So how is he meditating and this and that? And so the saint realized that this guy is not meditating, he's thinker-tating. But he didn't want to tell him. He said, okay, I'd like you to visit a family and I'd like you to stay with them for a few days and see what they do. They're also meditators, and so I'll make arrangements, saint said, that you can go stay with them for a few days. I want you to watch them and then come back and then we will talk about you meeting God. So the young man's very happy. He goes to the house of this couple. He rings the bell. And the couple opens the door up and he says, the saint sent me. And they're known by then, so they're happy. They welcome him nicely. As he walks in there, he sees that there's a lot of clutter in the house. He sees that some clothes are, thrown on the sofa. There seems to be dirt on the floor. They say, we are very busy. You can definitely follow us. We don't have not that much time to talk to you. But since the saints said that you can be here, live in the house, they said, we have cleaned one of the guest rooms for you and you can stay there. So they show him the guest room. When he goes in there, the guest room is very clean. So it's all very clean and spick and span. And so as he's staying with them, he's watching what they do. All day long, they're busy doing this thing and that thing and that thing. But he noticed that, as he gets into time to eat food, the kitchen is dirty. There are like dishes sitting there, there are crumbs on the floor. It's like cluttered up there in the house. Things are all over the place. There are papers going all over. And as the evening goes, there's stories from the modern time that the phone rings. And this person is not because he's watching them, he hears the wife talk to someone and he realizes he's talking to her parents. It looks like the conversation goes as if the wife is asking the parents to come. And the parents are thinking whether we should come or not, because the wife's mother on the other side, through the iPhone, is seeing in the back so much clutter in the house. She says, should I go there or should I not go there? The house looks very cluttered to me. And, do I want to stay in that environment? So it looks like finally, the parents agree that they'll come the next day. And they'll get there by the evening. So as soon as the lady of the house, hangs the phone, she tells her husband, I was just talking to my parents and they're coming tomorrow. So then the lady of the house tells this young man, she said, we have no time today to do anything with you. So please, whenever you have to eat, just eat from the tray. There's food there. If you want to do something, if you want to watch us, that's fine. But we are going to be very busy. So both of the husband and wife start to clean the house up. The husband said, where are they going to live now? Our guest room is taken by this guest. And so the lady said, no, we have this another room. And he said, which room? He said, didn't you notice we have this room? We made it as a storage room and there's all kinds of things in there. That was one of the bedrooms. So they said, okay, yeah, let's clean that up for them. They go into the place and it's all cluttered. So they bring one suitcase and a whole bunch of bags, trash bags. So they're going through the stuff. Whatever they want to keep, they keep in the suitcase. Whatever they want to throw, they throw in the garbage bag. And pretty soon, they take hours and hours. They're working, cleaning the front room, making sure that the room is ready. And the night comes, so they go to sleep. So they get up early in the morning. Now they're cleaning the kitchen and they're making sure that everything else is cleaned up. So by the time the parents come in the evening, and when they open the door to greet them, this young man is noticing that as the parents come in, the mother of the lady says, boy, it looks like you had a lot of work to do. And they said, Mom, what do you mean we have work to do? She said, no. I saw through the phone that there was a lot of clutter out here. I don't see it anymore. And she said, I am so happy that you cleaned up the place for me. And the daughter said, I cleaned up the place because I love you. And the mother and the father said, yeah, we know you love us and we know how much work he did to make our place clean. And so as this young man heard that, he thought maybe that is why the saints sent me to this place. And he thought to himself, I'm seeing the clutter in the house, and I'm seeing the house being cleaned, and I'm just watching these people, and maybe this is what I was supposed to learn, but I don't get the real meaning of how I'm going to find God. And he says goodbye to them, and he goes back, and the next time there's a meeting that he goes to see the saint, he asks for a private meeting. He said, I came back from the house, and so the saint asked him, what did you experience there? So he told him, when I went there, the house was so cluttered and things were all over the place. And then he talked about, the parents coming in and the place being very clean. And he said, I thought you wanted me to see that, but I don't understand how I can find God by having that experience. So the saints smiled, and he said, when you look at your own house, which is your human body, you have cluttered it with thoughts. You have thoughts of the past, you have thoughts of the future. You have thoughts of anger, you have thoughts of ego, you have thoughts of greed. You have thoughts that are cluttering your inside. So how do you expect God to come to your house? For you to meet God, you need to declutter. You need to clean your house up. And once you start to clean your house up, then only you'll be able to reach your goal. As we start to think about what really keeps us from God, we have to look at the meditative practice. The meditative practice is we need to still the body and still the mind. Now, stilling the body is easy because the five senses, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, and sense of touch, which are taking our attention, which is the outer expression of our soul, and putting them in the world outside, that attention can be withdrawn easily. We find a quiet place, there's no noise there, or sense of hearing is withdrawn. We can meditate, as many of us can meditate all together at the same time. We just make sure no part of our body touches someone else, so that if they move, we're not distracted, so a sense of touch is withdrawn. We're definitely not going to eat as we meditate, so a sense of taste is withdrawn. We don't change the atmosphere because we feel God created this world, every place is holy. So there's no need to light incenses and make the atmosphere more spiritual. So a sense of smell is withdrawn. And by closing our eyes, we withdraw a sense of sight. So those five senses are easily withdrawn. What happens is, as soon as we close our eyes, we are bombarded by thoughts. Now, the thought could be of anything. It could be a positive thought, it could be a negative thought, it could be of anything that happened with us, something that we're planning. Every thought is a distraction. Now, the meditative technique tells us that when we repeat God's name mentally, because it's the mind which is the source of thoughts, it's the mind which always needs to do something. Just like you put mercury in a test tube, it's never still, it's moving. So our mind always wants to do something. And so when it has nothing to do, it gives us thoughts. So the technique of meditation tells us that we use that capacity or the capability of the mind and we focus it on God by repeating God's name mentally, not by our tongue, because if we do it by our tongue, our ears would hear it, we would be distracted. But we do a mental repetition of God's name. That's what Simran is all about, is repeating God's name. Now, when we repeat it properly, we will get to a state where the mind will not have the energy to send thoughts to us. Yeah. But it takes practice, it takes time. And so we need to be able to get to that state. And that comes with practice. And so the saint told this young person that when you meditate, if you keep on thinking all the time and one thought comes, another thought comes, another thought comes, you're never going to be able to get to a state where you will experience the divine light or the divine sound of God, the two primal manifestations of God. You need to get to a state where no thoughts are coming. And that only comes with practice. So our thoughts about ego need to be controlled. We all think we are better than someone else. We are maybe more smarter. We maybe uh, have a better physique. We maybe are doing much better in our work, let's say. We're more affluent. We're more educated. Um, these all are a distraction. Yeah. All the saints have made a statement which tells us that wherever there's ego, then there's no question of finding God there. Because ego makes us be in a state of duality. And to be with God is a state of unity. And so ego says, I am one and someone else is someone else. Yeah. And with God, there's no question of someone else. We're all one and the same, irrespective of our faiths, our cultures, our backgrounds, um, whatever languages we speak, whatever countries we belong to. That we as human beings are a family of the Lord. And so when we think about ego, it talks about me and you. And wherever there's question of me and you, there's no question of being together. Because then there's always this competitiveness, there's always this me needs to be better than you business. Okay? So the saints say if you will be in that state, you'll never be able to reach God. There'll always be this struggle within you, me and you and me and you, and then there'll be all these commotions and everything that goes with that is going to stay with you. What you need to understand that there's only one, because we're all extensions of God. Our real self, our soul is a part of the oversoul, the creator. And so we need to be in that state where we experience that. And that experience comes in as we connect more and more with the divine power within, the divine power and light and sound of God. So we need to get to a state to control our ego. And this is where humility is a trait. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj would often say that 99.9% of humility is found in the life of the saints. Because when we look at the lives of the great saints and mystics, and they could be in any tradition, and we find that they came for everyone else. They met everyone very, very humbly. And when we see the life of Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, we find that all kinds of people would come to see him from all parts of the world. But he would meet them very lovingly. And generally, he would go down to meet someone, and actually, one of his disciples asked him, why are you going down to someone? I mean, you are the spiritual master. When people come to see you, they're supposed to bow down to you. And he would always say, I'm bowing down to the God that I see in this person. Because he's not looking at the outside. He was focused on what was the reality in the presence of that human being. And the reality was the soul, the reality was consciousness, reality was a part of God. And he said he would always bow down to God that he saw in others. And so we need to be able to get to that state. Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj would often say, he would say, what one man can do, so can another. So this is from the old times. So today, one human can do, whether one man or a woman can do, so can another. Times have changed. In those times, when they talked about man, they meant a man and a woman. And so, what one person can do, so can another. And we all can read this. It's a question of practice. It's a question of controlling our ego. It's a question of controlling our anger. Anger comes into our life because things happen contrary to what we expect. We all have expectations. We live in an environment, we have expectations of our parents, we have expectations of our siblings, we have expectations of our children. And so when those expectations are not met, we have a tough time dealing with it, and we get angry because we all feel that whatever we're thinking is right, and everything else, when it's contrary to what our thought process is, then it is very difficult for us to deal with it. But anger brings all kinds of havoc into our life. Actually, anger hurts the person more who's angry than the person towards whom that anger is directed. Because first the anger builds up in us, so we're the ones who have to deal with it. Then only it'll go to others. If we're angry in thought, it remains with us. There's some vibrations, but the other person might not even know that we're angry. If anger is in words, then it gets to someone. If it's in deeds, then definitely there could be damage all over the place. But the first person who gets hurt is the one who gets angry themselves. So we need to recognize that we live in a very multicultural environment today. In all neighborhoods, in all big cities in the world, there are people from all communities. They're brought up with different beliefs, they're brought up with different backgrounds, their cultures are different. They might say and do things based on their cultures, which if we don't understand, they might be contrary to what we might do. And so we need to realize that we all need to be resilient. If we're not resilient, then we react to whatever comes in our direction and we bounce back. But if we're resilient, we take in what comes in our direction and we then respond carefully because we've understood what is coming in our direction. Every day we meet many, many people. Every day we have interaction with so many people. So we need to be calm. We need to be collected. And if we start to get angry at every little thing that happens in life, which is contrary to what we want, then our life is the one which is messed up because we are in pain. If we are angry, then we are unable to make any decision which will be calm and peaceful and bring joy and happiness into our life. Remember all the times when you get angry, are you happy at that time? No one's happy when they're angry. We want to be happy. We want to be with God. And being with God is being happy continuously, eternally, and being in a state of bliss. We also need to realize that, our presence in the world is not that we take and take and take. It's not like we live a life where we say, give me, give me, give me. We need to help others. Because when you're in a process like, this is mine, give to me, it should be like I say, then what is happening is you are trying to put your either position, a place of power, or money, or whatever the resources or education, and you're trying to belittle others. And when we live there like that, we're creating a lot of stress and a lot of strain in the lives of others and also in our life too. And so we need to create the atmosphere to be calm. And this is where this principle of selfless service comes into play. So we want to be helpful. Many people try their best to be helpful to the members of their family. But we need to be helpful to everyone that we meet because all of us are connected in one way or another anyway, because we all have a part of God in us. To lead a life of selfless service, to lead a life in which we are able to extend a helping hand, to share of the resources which God has given us, because as human beings we feel like we are the ones who have made ourselves to achieve what we are achieving in this life, not realizing that 75% of our life is preordained, not realizing there's the grace of God that has put us in this position. Most people think that it's their hard work or it's their luck or they are very smart or they thought of something or they planned well and that's why they reach things in life. We don't realize that it's a gift of God. It's the grace of God which is giving us the resources that we have. And and this is a fact. Each and every one is physically going to die one day. There's no one can deny that, because kings have come and philosophers have come and presidents of countries have come. But physically, we all are going to leave this world one day. Okay? Are we taking any of our possessions with us? The answer is no. All the money in a bank stays there. All the property that we've collected, the house we might live in, or we get apartments to rent, or we have other properties, or we've got a boat, or we got a cars, or we got planes, depending on whatever levels we reach. All of that remains there. So what goes with us? None of what we think is very precious in this physical world. All that goes with us is how did we lead our lives? Were we caring? Did we share with someone? Were we loving to someone? Did we help someone? That is what we are measured by. And we, instead of doing that, are trying to amass things for ourselves. And many of us are unable to share with others because we feel this is mine. Hey, I got this one, we can't touch it. And so we all need to understand that this is a temporary phase of life. It could be a long phase. I mean, people are now living to be over 100. Okay? There were times when we were younger, the lifespan was 50 or 60 years old. But I was reading the other day, the 90s of today's are like the 40s of the old times. So people are living longer, and people would be living 100, 110. As the medical technology is getting better, we are living longer. Okay? And maybe that's what God wants us, or maybe God feels that we guys are duffers, we need more time to, meditate. You never know. I mean, it's God who decides when we come, it's God who decides when we go. See, God feels we need more time to meditate here because God realizes if we don't meditate here, it'll take us much longer to meditate inside. God is giving a chance. Hey, if you didn't meditate till 80, we'll give you till 90. Maybe give you 100. God can do whatever God wants, right? It's all God's play. So we need to be able to get to our goal in this very lifetime, and we all can get there. This is what all the saints and messengers are telling us, that in this very lifetime we can meet God, we can be one with God, we can be off the wheel of transmigration. We need to focus our attention on that job that we're supposed to do. And the goal is the same for each and every one of us. We could be born in different countries, we could be educated differently, we could have different kind of works, activities that we do, but our goal is the same. We all want to get off the wheel of transmigration. We all want to be one with God. And so the key is to be able to get to a state where there's calm, there's peace, there's tranquility within ourselves. Because if there's turmoil, then we won't be able to connect with the divine light and sound of God. It's only when we are still in the body and still in the mind that we'll get there. And it only happens through practice. So practicing of repeating God's name is very, very important. Not only should we do this when we meditate, because it's still the mind, but during the day, when we are doing activities which are not mental, when we are doing activities which are just physical, then we should do a mental repetition of God's name. The more we do that, the better it will be when we are meditating, because then our Simran, which is the repetition of God's name, would get stronger and stronger so that no thoughts will come to us. Generally, as we meditate, what happens is we close our eyes and we're stilled. We want to meditate well. And so for the first minute or two, we're very careful. We're repeating the name nicely and nicely. And pretty soon, I don't know what happens, some thought comes in. And the thought is just like a ripple effect. If there's a calm lake and you throw a pebble in it, it creates havoc there. The waves after waves. So that's what the thought does. And so then the one thought comes, and then to fix that thought, another thought comes. And then a third one comes. And then even though we're trying to repeat God's name, we are more interested in the thought than in focusing on what we should be focusing on. And so we get derailed very quickly. But if we practice and we practice and we practice, then we can get to a state where as we close our eyes and as we repeat God's name, that no thoughts will come to us. That's the spot that we need to get to. Because only then that our sensory currents will all collect here at the seat of the soul. And with the guidance of the spiritual master power within, will be uplifted. God is within each and every one of us. This is the gateway to get to God. God is on the other side of this gate. But we need to get there. If thoughts are going to put us in the attention in the world outside, we never get to the seat of the soul, the Shiv Netra, or the Dasmadvar. And if we don't get there, we don't have any connection with God. We don't experience God. We don't find the closeness of God. So the key is to be able to get to that state where we can focus all of our attention here at the seat of the soul. And then we will find vistas after vistas of divine light and sound open up for us. And the joy of being there, cannot be described in words. It needs to be experienced. It's just like sweetness cannot be described. Is a chocolate sweet or a mango sweet or a rasgulla sweet? You have to eat that to experience that sweetness. It's the same thing with the meditative experience. It's very difficult to put into words because what we're experiencing is not of this physical world. What we're experiencing is something which is conscious, spiritually consciousness. And to experience that, we need to be able to be in that state. So no words, no books can explain that. So saints and mystics take examples of this word. So they'll say it'll be sweeter than good. And good is like, raw sugar, let's say. So examples of what we experience in the physical world are taken by the saints. So they'll say, the ray will merge in the sun. Just for us to get an inkling of what it could be, that our soul will merge in the oversoul. So they take examples of the physical world for us to explain what is happening in the spiritual journeys that we have. But unless we have the journey ourselves, unless we have the experience ourselves, no ratings can explain to us what it is. So the key is in practice. And meditation is a practice. And so to make the practice perfect, we need to do it repeatedly. It's just like, let's say a meditation is our exam. Yeah? And so if you have an exam, then you need to prepare for the exam. You just don't walk in there and say, okay, I'll take an exam on calculus. As it is, calculus is tough to understand anyway. But if you have a calculus course, you have to practice, you have to, do the exercises, you have to know something, then you're ready to take an exam. So what we do, all day long we're running here, we're running here, we're running there, because we have so many chores to do. We live in an environment where there's so many distractions, and each and every one of us feels like we have so much work to do, that we're running all that, then we say, oh, it's my time to meditate. And all of a sudden we sit to meditate, and for a minute we come and they say, yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. Let me look like this, let me look like that, And they say, maybe I'm not, maybe lights come from this side, that side. And so all of a sudden, instead of being still, because we haven't done our prerequisites, we are in turmoil. We are not able to meditate well. But if all day long we've been thinking about it, as we do our day-to-day activities, if we've done a Simran, then when we come to meditate, it'll be much easier for us to focus within. And that's the key. And those who do that are the ones whose meditations are well, and they are the ones who soar into the regions beyond. Because the master power or the spiritual master power is there for each and every one of us. And that spiritual master power is sitting here at the seat of the soul. And God is not on the outside. God is with each and every one of us. Is the spiritual master power which helps us connect our soul with God. And the mind is the barrier. And so the mind is the one which sends thoughts to us. So we need to overcome that barrier, but get to a state where the mind doesn't disturb us. And so we use the power of the mind. Instead of being focused on thoughts or the world outside, we focus it on God because we want to meet God. And that is the principle of why we repeat God's name. So that our attention is on the Creator, our attention is on God, and we're able to experience the joys within. So let us meditate for a few minutes. As you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. Right in front of you, light will spout forth. Just focus attention right in the middle of whatever you're experiencing. And in the beginning, it might seem like there are flashes of light, there are circles of lights. Light is coming and going, but with time, it looks like the lights have stabilized. What actually is happening is that the light of God is within each and every one of you. It's not coming from the outside. It's within each and every one of you. When you concentrate, you experience the light. When you're distracted, you experience darkness. So with time, as you experience the light more and more, and to you it looks like it's stabilized, what really is happening is that your concentration is getting better. And as you're getting to that state where the thoughts are not bothering you, then you will see not only these lights stabilize, but many, many other vistas will open up. It could be sky full of stars, and a moon and a sun, and many, many other vistas. And as you focus on that, you find peace, you'll find calmness, you'll find tranquility. And your connection with God will get stronger and stronger and stronger. So I pray to God Almighty and to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dhyarpur Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within, to experience the divine light and effulgence, and to be able to soar into the regions beyond. So we'll sit for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state at that time. And my best wishes are with each and every one of you.